Good day, everyone. Welcome back to V-Class TV. This is Teacher Jackie. This week we will focus on concluding from informational texts with topics on facts versus opinion, conclusion, and space meaning. For that, we have the following four objectives to tackle this week. Welcome to day one. Today we are going to start with facts versus opinion. Let's begin with this review. Identify whether the statement is fact or opinion. Write your answer on a show me board, raise it up when done, and let's check your answer when the time is up. Let's begin with this one. The Pacific Ocean is the largest ocean on Earth. Is it a fact or opinion? The correct answer is fact. Pizza is the most delicious food. Is it a fact or opinion? The correct answer is opinion. The Eiffel Tower is located in Paris, France. Is it a fact or opinion? The correct answer is fact. Reading books is more enjoyable than watching movies. Is it a fact or opinion? The correct answer is opinion. For a recap, let's talk about facts. A fact is a statement that can be proven true or false. Facts are based on objective reality, meaning they are not influenced by personal feelings or opinions. Examples of facts: the Earth orbits the Sun. There are 7,641 islands in the Philippines. Water freezes at 32 degrees Fahrenheit or 0 degrees Celsius. On the other hand, opinion is a statement that reflects someone's beliefs, feelings, or thoughts. Opinions are subjective, meaning they are based on personal experiences or preferences and cannot be proven true or false. Examples are: chocolate ice cream is the best flavor. Summer is the most enjoyable season. Dogs make better pets than cats. Now that we have recalled about facts and opinions, let's proceed to this activity, the Unlocking Content Vocabulary. Read each sentence carefully and choose the word that best matches the meaning of the underlined word to the context of the sentence. Write the letter of your choice on your notebook. Let's begin with number 1. During Ramadan, Muslims do fasting. They don't eat or drink anything during the hours of daylight. Fasting means number 2. Muslims fast during Ramadan to help devote themselves to Islam. Devote means blank. Number 3. They do this to learn self-discipline and feel empathy for the poor. What does empathy mean? Number 4. The end of Ramadan is celebrated with a big celebration called Eid al-Fitr. What does celebration mean? Number 5. Hajj is a pilgrimage to Mecca in Saudi Arabia. What does pilgrimage mean? Number 6. Zakat means to be charitable and give to those in need. What does charitable mean? Let's check your work. If you got 4 to 5 points, it means that you are familiar with the words. If you scored 3 and below, you may take down notes of the words and search for their meanings. Welcome to day 2. If you are learning from this video, like and subscribe for more. We've been learning how to distinguish between facts and opinions, which is an important skill for understanding what we read. Remember, facts are statements we can prove to be true, and opinions are what people believe or feel. Now, let's take it a step further. When we read informational texts, we often come across a lot of facts. But just knowing the facts isn't enough. We need to be able to think about these facts and understand what they mean. This is where generating conclusions comes in. By looking at the facts and using what we know, we can draw conclusions that help us understand the bigger picture. For example, if we know that Muslims fast during Ramadan to learn self-discipline and feel empathy for the poor, we can conclude that Ramadan is not just a physical challenge, but also a time for spiritual growth and reflection. In our next activity, we're going to practice drawing our own conclusions from the information we read. This will help us become better readers and thinkers, able to understand and interpret the world around us. Are you ready to become detectives and uncover the deeper meaning in our texts? Before reading the text, let us take note of the questions that you are going to answer after reading. You may write this on your notebook first. Question number 1. Why is fasting an important part of Ramadan for Muslims, and what are some of the reasons they observe this practice? Number 2. How do the customs and rituals of Ramadan, such as fasting, praying, and giving to those in need, help Muslims strengthen their faith and community? And number 3, what can we learn from the practices of Ramadan, like giving up bad habits and doing good deeds that can be applied to our own lives regardless of our religious beliefs? Now, here is an example of an informational text. This one is entitled Ramadan Facts for Kids. This is written on April 1, 2021 by Catherine Lynch. Ramadan is almost here, but how much do you know about this religious festival? We've taken a closer look at why and how Muslims celebrate Ramadan and thought about what we all can learn from its customs and rituals, like giving up bad habits and doing good deeds. In 2022, Ramadan is from Friday, 1st April until Sunday, 1st May. What do you need to know about Ramadan? Ramadan is one of the 5 pillars of Islam. It lasts for 29 to 30 days, which is roughly 1 month. Ramadan happens during the 9th month of the Islamic calendar. The Islamic calendar is based on the cycle of the moon, so the dates of Ramadan change every year. In 2021, Ramadan will begin on the evening of Monday, 12th April, when the new moon first appears in the sky. It will end on Tuesday, 11th May, the night of the waning crescent moon. What happens during Ramadan? During Ramadan, Muslims don't eat or drink anything during the hours of daylight. This is called fasting. Children don't usually fast until they are 14 years old. Some Muslims don't have to fast. They include pregnant women, elderly people, people who are unwell, and people traveling. Muslims try to spend time with their family during Ramadan. They also try to help people in need, give up bad habits, and devote time to prayer. Lots of Muslims try to read the whole of the Quran during Ramadan. This is because Ramadan is the month the Quran was given to the Prophet Muhammad. Special services take place at the mosque where prayers are said and the Quran is read. Why do Muslims fast during Ramadan? Muslims fast during Ramadan to help devote themselves to Islam. They do this to learn self-discipline and feel empathy for the poor. Which meals are eaten during Ramadan? The meal Muslims have before the sun rises is called suhoor. Suhoor means of the dawn. Iftar is the evening meal eaten after sunset. It marks the end of the day of fasting. Iftar means break of a fast. What happens at the end of Ramadan? The end of Ramadan is celebrated with a big celebration called Eid al-Fitr. This celebration marks the end of fasting and gives thanks for the strength given by Allah during the month of Ramadan. Muslims dress in their finest clothes, give gifts to children, spend time with their friends and family, and give money to charity. What are the 5 pillars of Islam? The 5 pillars of Islam are acts that are important in Muslim life. The first pillar is Shahada. Shahada is the declaration that Allah is the only God. The second pillar is Salat. The Salat are the 5 prayers Muslims say every day. The third pillar is Zakat. Zakat means to be charitable and give to those in need. The fourth pillar is Saum. Saum is the month-long fast Muslims do during Ramadan. The fifth pillar is Hajj. Hajj is a pilgrimage to Mecca. Now, let us answer the process questions. Answer in complete sentence on your notebook. With all the information from the text, you can conclude that Muslims observe Ramadan by praying, reading the Quran, and fasting. Muslims believe their past sins will be forgiven if they participate in Ramadan. Welcome to day 3. If you want more of our educational content, follow VClass TV on Facebook and TikTok. When we read a text, the author does not always tell us everything. The author may leave out details on purpose. He may also depend on the reader's general knowledge to fill in the blanks. This time, you are going to read each paragraph and answer the questions. Part 1. Sarah lit the candle as the room grew darker. The clock chimed 8 times, so she knew it would soon be bedtime. She hurried to find her chalkboard slate. She had not finished her lessons yet. She knew the teacher would be disappointed in her if she did not finish. Now, try to answer these questions. 1. The paragraph takes place in the morning, at night. Why do you think that? Number 2. The paragraph takes place in modern times or in historical times. Why do you think that? Let's try to see if your answers are correct. For question number 1, the paragraph takes place in, well, it actually happened at night. And why is that? The text tells us she lights a candle and that it was almost bedtime. For the second question, the paragraph takes place in historical times. And why would we say that? That is because the text says she lights a candle and uses a chalkboard slate for her lessons. Let's now proceed with the second paragraph. Claude walked slowly to the barn. He could hear the puppies as they cried for their mother. It would be a long night if she did not come back soon. So, here are some of the questions. Claude is what? Why do you think that? And Claude is human, animal, or what? And why do you think that? Let's have question number 1 first. Claude is what? Male or female? The correct answer is male. And why would we say that? Because Claude is usually a boy's name and the text says he. So is Claude human or animal? Well, I would say I don't know. And why would I say that? There's not enough information in the text to tell if Claude is human or an animal. Let's have the last paragraph. As I walked in the door, I knew there was trouble right away. The trash can was turned over, and papers were everywhere. The sofa cushions were on the floor. One of the pillows had been ripped open. Stuffing was all over the floor. As I looked around, I saw Ringo in the corner. He had a ball on his mouth, ready to play. Now here are the questions. 1. What is Ringo? And 2. What happened to the trash can, the sofa cushions, and the pillow? Let's try to answer question number 1. What is Ringo? Ringo is a dog. He has a ball on his mouth. For question number 2, Ringo tore up the cushions and pillow. He knocked over the trash can. Now that we've practiced drawing conclusions from informational texts, let's talk about how this skill can help you in everyday situations, like filling out school forms. When you fill out a form, you often need to read instructions and gather information from different sections to understand what is required. Drawing conclusions help you make sense of this information and decide what details to include. A school form will be handed to you. Read each part carefully and consider what information you can possibly write on the space provided for it. You may have a partner, or you may sit with your group to solicit ideas. However, you should remember that even if you may discuss with your classmate about the parts, the information that you are going to provide is all about yourself. Now, here is the school form. This is the student information form. Part 1 is about personal information. Part 2 is about parent-guardian information. Please continue with Part 3, Emergency Contact Information. Part 4 is about medical information. And the last part is Part 5, Consent and Permissions. Welcome to Day 4. If you are interested in the PowerPoint presentation used in this video lesson, join our growing channel now. Now your teacher will give you a print copy of this news article. Read it carefully and answer the questions that follow. This is from a school paper named 6 Feet of Separation, a youth newspaper for Bernal Heights and beyond. It was issued in March 2020. The title is Schools Out by Noah Panasic. The text opens with a statement. Please read carefully. This is all in a single column. The column continued to the bottom portion of the paper. This is one article. The other title that you see, What I Know About Coronavirus, is another text to read. But of course, this time you will just focus on the text titled Schools Out. Now here are the questions that you need to answer. 1. Why is it important to have space between words when writing sentences? 2. How does having space between lines of text make it easier to read? 3. What happens if there is too much text crowded together on a page? How does space help? 4. Why do some newspapers and magazines use bigger spaces between articles or pictures on their pages? And 5. When you see a list with bullet points, why does having space between each point make it easier to read and remember? How space affects the meaning of informational texts. The strategic use of space in informational text significantly influences how effectively the information is communicated. Well-organized text with appropriate use of headings, white space, bullet points, images, and other elements enhances readability, aids comprehension, and ensures that the reader can efficiently navigate and understand the content. When creating or analyzing informational text, paying attention to how space is utilized can make a substantial difference in the text's overall effectiveness and clarity. Let's talk about layout and organization, the headings and subheadings. They help to break the text into manageable sections, making it easier for readers to locate specific information quickly. Example, in a text about Ramadan, headings like which meals are eaten during Ramadan help readers navigate through different topics. Under layout and organization is the paragraph structure. Clear and concise paragraphs separated by spaces enhance readability and comprehension. They indicate where one idea ends and another begins. So a long paragraph detailing both the history and practices of Ramadan can be confusing, whereas separating this into distinct paragraphs makes the information clearer. Let's talk about white space or space. White space or the empty areas around the text and images prevents the page from feeling cluttered and overwhelming, allowing readers to focus better on the content. Bullets, points, and lists. Using bullet points or numbered lists can emphasize important points and make the information more digestible. So for example, you have here the listing of the 5 pillars of Islam in bullet points. Help highlight each pillar distinctly, making it easier for readers to remember and understand them. Margins and indentation. Proper use of margins and indentation helps structure the text and can signal the start of a new section or paragraph, enhancing the overall flow. Indenting the first line of each paragraph in a text about Ramadan helps visually separate different ideas, aiding in logical progression and comprehension. Images and captions. Placing images with appropriate captions near relevant text sections can provide visual context, making the information text more engaging and easier to understand. An image of family breaking their fast during iftar placed next to the description of iftar reinforces the textual information with a visual representation. Charts and tables. Charts and tables can summarize complex information, making it easier to understand at a glance. For example, the phases of the moon in a chart simply shows what is being observed from beginning to end of Ramadan. Text box and sidebars. These elements can highlight key information or provide additional context without disrupting the main flow of the text. A sidebar with a brief biography of the Prophet Muhammad can provide useful background information without interrupting the main text about Ramadan practices. This time we are going to have another performance task. You are going to sit with your group, study the following poster carefully, answer the questions together, and discuss your answers. Look at this poster carefully and then answer the following questions. Is there too much text in one area? Are the images and text too close together? Is there enough space between different sections of the poster? What can be done to make the poster clear and readable? What elements, if there is any, that you would like to add? After discussing the answers to those questions, you are now ready to proceed to the main point. On a bond paper, do this poster again. This time you should consider how to improve it. You may apply at least 3 of the following elements. Welcome to day 5. If you would like to purchase the PowerPoint presentation package of this quarter, find us on Facebook. Message us for inquiry. Now it's time for us to see what you got. Read the following questions carefully. On your paper, write the letter of your choice. Part 1 is from Drawing Conclusions. Number 1. What conclusion can you draw from the statement, "The windows are fogged up and there are wet footprints on the floor"? Number 2. After reading a story about a character who keeps checking their watch anxiously, what can you infer about how the character feels? Number 3. Based on a description of a room with books scattered on the floor and an open laptop, what conclusion can you draw about who was in the room recently? Number 4. After reading a story where a character wakes up late, misses the bus, and forgets their lunch, what conclusion can you draw about how their morning went? Number 5. In a story where a character is seen carrying a surfboard and wearing a swimsuit, what conclusion can you draw about where they might be going? Part 2 is about spacing. What would you do to improve spacing in a poster? Number 2. Which of the following practices helps improve spacing in a poster? Number 3. In a well-designed poster, what does adequate spacing between text and images help achieve? Number 4. What is the purpose of leaving margins around the edges of a poster? And number 5. Why is it important to use spacing between paragraphs on a poster? That's all for this week. For all the materials enclosed in this lesson, like posters, they are available as perks for our members. You can join if you want or message me through Facebook for inquiries. Once again, this has been Teacher Jackie saying, discover, learn, have fun only at V-Class TV. Until next time.